Hello, yes, we're finally back. It's been a hot minute. The girlfriend and I were away enjoying a little Valentine's holiday, but we're back now and the grind is back on. So many videos in the pipeline to get working on and start pumping out for you guys. Lots of exciting stuff to look forward to. Starting, of course, with the conclusion to the Shaddoll Showdown video. So a little while ago, we got our exclusive first look at the Shaddoll Showdown Structure decks, and we made our first draft of a deck using just 3 copies. As someone who's never played with Shaddolls before, there was obviously a couple of hints and tips that I wasn't aware of, but you guys kept me right by letting me know in the comments. I looked at our original list, then made some changes after reading your comments and watching a couple of other videos. So let's take a look at what we're going to be playing with today. So before I go into the list, it's worth reminding you that I can't use cross sheep in this challenge, and cross sheep is pretty much needed for the deck. Most of the time we're just going to have 1 fusion on the board, and so for that extra push, I'm running 3 copies of BLS. Thanks to the lack of summonable links, we need to have some kind of main deck boss monster, and he fits that role perfectly. Moving on to the Shaddoll package, it's changed a little bit since last time, so we have 3 Squamata for deck thinning, we have 3 Wendy because she has the best Shaddoll effect, even though she is wind, 2 Hedgehog for adding, 2 Beast for drawing, 2 Falco just for summoning from grave and whatnot, 2 Dragon helps pop back rows, and 1 Aerial because you guys enlightened me with the new Shaddoll combo. Next up, for our ideal normal summons, we have 3 Mathematician and 1 Armageddon Knight. Then for Kraken boards, we have 2 Lava Golem, and for Shaddoll fusion targets, we have 2 Turtle and 1 Cerberus. Typically, you would run Trick Clown over Turtle, but when you're just using the 3 decks, Trick Clown really doesn't do anything for you because you have no links. Now for the spells, seeing a fusion card of some kind is very important to the deck, so obviously we have 3 Shaddoll fusion, 3 El Shaddoll fusion, and 3 Super Poly. Pot of Avarice and Foolish Burial coming in to round off the spells, and then onto the traps we have 1 Shaddoll Core and 1 Resh Shaddoll Incarnation. You can change the build around to put in Allure of Darkness, but every time I seen it, it just seemed to brick my hand, so that's why I'm not running it anymore. Also, the extra deck and side deck are pretty much just the exact same as the last video, but I will go through it quickly just to remind you. So we have here 3 Mommy Construct and 3 Winda, which is one of your main win conditions if you're made to go first, 2 App Cologne, 2 Grista, 2 Shekinaga, and then 1 Wendigo, 1 Anoyatilis, and 1 Shaddoll Construct. It would be really nice to have Cross Sheep, and it would also be really nice to even just have Gravity Controller, because that would fit well in the deck as well, but obviously we can't do that. So if you were to do some kind of Shaddolls from scratch or sealed only Shaddolls challenge, those are the cards I would try and get first. For this series, I don't really need a side deck because it is typically best of 1, but we do have 3 Lost Winds, 3 Sinister Shadow Games, 1 Necrofusion, 2 Subterror Succession, 3 Unending Nightmare, and 3 Twin Twisters. Pretty solid deck overall, and when Master Rule 2020 does come into effect on April 1st, it will be very good. But yeah, let's go take it for a spin and see how many misplays I can make. Okay, so starting off with first base, we of course have the Zombie Horde Structure deck. This thing OTK'd me, if you remember in the last one, and I'm not about to let that happen again. We do win the die roll thankfully and choose to go second. Flipping our hand over here, it's actually pretty garbage because 2 Shaddoll Fusion, while normally would be very good against the Zombie Horde Structure deck, he's likely not going to get an extra deck monster out, so Shaddoll Fusion's not going to be able to resolve properly. He starts off by normal summoning Gozuki and activating its effect to send Necroworld Banshee from deck to graveyard. Banshee then of course banishes itself to activate Zombie World from the deck. He sets 1 back row and passes turn. Top decking a Wendy for turn makes our hand a lot more playable, although I do want to save the DD Crow effect of Aerial for when he has Doom King in the graveyard, so I probably won't be activating Shaddoll Fusion. Instead, I normal summon Wendy and activate Super Poly.
Oh, what? Super Poly on Gozuki!
Summoning Shekinaga, we trigger Wendy's effect, which I use to special summon Beast from the deck in face down defense position. Setting Incarnation, I then punch for 2600 and pass it back to him. Set 1 pass. Except in his end phase, I do activate Incarnation to special back Wendy. Top decking a Pot of Avarice, I start to show my kind of inexperience with Shaddolls because I don't really know what I'm aiming for, I just start improvising, doing loads of effects. So I flip summon the Beast for draw 2, discard 1, to which he chains Shared Ride. Drawing into Math and Foolish, I discard Ariel, banishing his graveyard just because. Following that up, I normal summon Mathematician, dumping Squamata, who then dumps Dragon to get rid of the zombie world. At this point, I'm just loading up my graveyard for Avarice because I then activate Foolish, dumping Hedgehog, which adds me Dragon. Flipping Wendy, I use her effect to summon Falco face down from the deck. Shaddoll Fusion fuses my Shekinaga and Dragon from hand away for a Winda, but Shekinaga adds back the previous Shaddoll Fusion from the graveyard. Finally, I can activate Pot of Avarice, which draws me into a Super Poly and an El Shaddoll Fusion, which allows me to tag out enough times for game. Next up, I got an unrecorded win against Marincess thanks to Lava Golem. Then I lost the die roll to block BA. Our hand is pretty good depending on what board he manages to put out, and obviously because we have no hand traps he can just go wild. 6 minutes later he finally finishes comboing off to end on a board of a 4 counter Apollousa, Nat Beast, Fossil Dyna, and Leviair. So I can't special summon monsters, Apollousa just negates any monster effects I activate, and Nat Beast just negates any spells I activate. I start by normal summoning the Wendy I top decked for turn, and going straight to the battle phase to attack over Dyna. Now that I can special summon monsters, I drop a Super Poly fusing his Nat Beast with my Wendy. Summoning Shekinaga to the zone Apollousa points to, and then activate the effect of Wendy to summon Ariel from the deck. I very easily could have smashed his entire board here and won the game, but I'm an idiota! Still in the battle phase, I should have attacked over Leviair with Shekinaga and then activated El Shaddoll Fusion, fusing both of my monsters into Apkalone. Apkalone's Imperm effect would chain block Ariel and bait out his Apollousa, which I could then attack over and banish his block dragon. Instead, I forgot it was still the battle phase and assumed I was in main phase 2. Thanks to this misplay, he was able to recover, build a board, and eventually win the game. Finally, we have a game against Dino Dolls, so it's kind of like a mirror match, but not really. He wins the die roll and makes me go first. Our hand isn't awful, we do have access to Winda, which is basically all we can do going first. I do start with Foolish Burial, dumping Squamata to then dump Wendy, who special summons Ariel from deck in face down defense. From there, instead of going straight for Winda, I normal summon Falco and then set Super Poly because A, this plays around Imperm, and B, I want him to commit to a line of play that I can sort of interrupt for Winda. He starts with a Fossil Dig, searching for Overraptor, and then an Allure of Darkness, drawing 2 and banishing Danger Mothman. Next up, he normal summons his Overraptor, activating its effect to dump Overtex, which then searches him a double evolution pill. He then discards Miscellaneousaurus, and this is the point where I feel it would be most impactful to flip a Super Poly. Fusing my face down Ariel and his Overraptor, I summon Winda and use Ariel's effect to banish his graveyard. This way, with just one special summon, he can't activate Pill, nor can he summon Ultimate Conductor Tyranno from hand, but he's not just playing dinos, he's playing Shaddolls too. With an extra Foolish Burial, he pays half his life points and sends Apkalone to the graveyard, which searches him any Shaddoll card, Shaddoll Fusion. With this effect, you're also meant to discard a card, which he forgot to do, so warning number 1! Activating Shaddoll Fusion, he sends Giant Rex and Hedgehog to the graveyard to summon Shekinaga, then Hedgehog searches him a Shaddoll monster, so he adds Squamata to hand. Going into the battle phase, he attacks over our Winda, which triggers the Cerberus I sent to grave for Super Poly earlier in the turn. This activates during the damage step, and he chains Super Poly. Get! So yeah, you can't do that, but neither of us caught this, and he eventually went on to win the game because I had no out to his illegal Winda. So, as the editor, I'm going to overrule this and give him a game loss. Wow, look at that perfect score. This is what it would look like if I was a perfect player. So, the big question of the series, can you build a Yu-Gi-Oh deck with just Structure Deck Shaddoll Showdown?
Oh, yes.
My answer is buy these decks, man. Not only are you getting decent competitive viability and insane value for money, you're also getting a side deck, massive feature potential with Master Rule 5 around the corner, as well as the ability to experiment with different builds yourself, for example testing out Allure of Darkness and stuff like that. And on top of all that, it's a super fun deck to play. Fusion archetypes are always very interesting, not to mention the fact that you get a mommy.
place to